moving on to theme number 2 today. So, uh, there's a few things I want to talk about that we're going to discuss today, shall we? And how do I start out? One of the ways that sometimes we find ourselves in a funk as creators is that we might see a pattern and say, we might say one of a few things, okay? We might say, ooh, that is too hard. Mm-mm. That is just way beyond my capacity to do. Okay, that might be one thing that we say to ourselves. We see a beautiful pattern and we say, mm-mm, not going to happen, right? Because one, we doubt our ability to do it. Two, we might doubt our ability to take on something so big, right? It's just this enormous project that we're like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I have the time. I love it, but I just don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can commit myself to that, right? Right? You guys with me on this? So that might be the second reason why, we might look at a pattern and go, I wish I could do that, but I simply just do not have time. The third reason why we might not want to tackle a project is because we look at the pattern and we go, ew. Have you ever done that? Have you ever looked at a pattern at the store and went, oh, that fabric is awful, right? Because, sometimes they are. Or sometimes they're amazing and you go, I don't have that kind of fabric in my stash. I couldn't do that. Or maybe I say to myself, maybe I love that fabric, but I have to stay within the line because that's exactly the way the pattern is supposed to be. Are you with me on this? Have any of you ever experienced that question in your mind? Okay, I'm seeing lots of you say yes. Yes, the crumb quilt. Love you, Paula. For sure, Marianne says. Susan says, oh, yes. So I want to kind of talk you through that a little bit today. And it's not necessarily a demonstration, but rather a discussion, if you will, and how we can break out of that mindset that one, we might not have enough time. Two, it might be look overwhelming to us. Three, we might not like the fabrics that the pattern maker had chosen, and so we then stop. We don't really look at the pattern. We just go, ooh, no, ooh. Four, you have to stay within the line. Okay, remember, we're not line dancing. That's right, Betty Jo. She loves being a line dancer. I've been trying to tell you, Betty Jo, you do not have to stay in the line, right? You do not have to. You can choose your own fabrics. Four, you might. Five, what am I on? Number five, I think. The thing is, there's all these different reasons of why we tell ourselves we can't do something. So today, I'm hoping to break you out of that mindset a little bit by having this little one-on-one discussion. You and me, friend to friend. Okay, first of all, when you see something you love and that brings you that little skip in your heart, get it. Okay? Get it. It's okay. And it's okay to think beyond the quilt. All right? Yes, Jennifer, perfect example. She said, great example is the Alaska pattern. Same block over and over. So you tell yourself, oh, there's no way. I can't do that over and over and over again. And it's going to be like Groundhog Day. Doing something over and over and over again. But the results are amazing. Peg, you're exactly right. She says, I'm always afraid I'll destroy it. Yep, there's that too. See all this stinking thinking that we have sometimes going on in our heads? Someone mentioned Nebula. It was feeling that way with Nebula. So true. But again, you got to break it up and take it step by step. Okay? So, Annette, you're so cute. The Solaris sewing machine makes my heart go pitter patter. Me too, Annette. Me too. So, and then D, I'm going to bring your comment over. D says, I rarely stay with the design as it was originally envisioned. So see, that's really good, D. Have you gone to therapy for this? Who's your therapist? I want to call him and say, good job. Because what we have to tell ourselves is it's okay to do something a little bit different. Okay, so let me give you some examples now of what I'm referring to. Any of you love Tilda? Tilda Fabrics, Tilda's World? Huge fan. We've got a lot of her fabrics in the store. I think Tilda's World does a phenomenal job of taking a pattern that they might have as a quilt and then making it smaller and condensing it. So let me show you some examples of that, okay? So for one, we've got this darling quilt. Now take a look at that. Tilda's colors are a little funky, but I love them, okay? That's right, Janet. One seam at a time. You eat an elephant a bite at a time. Now, if you were to look at this quilt, you see this, you would say to yourself, well, a few things, right? But one of the things you might say to yourself is, oh, look at that quilting. I could never do that quilting on it. Oh, stop that, stop that. That's why we hire quilters to do amazing stuff like that. But maybe it's too much quilting and you say, it's okay, I can look beyond the quilting, and you say, I can do something different, right? Okay. But someone might say, I love that quilt, but I don't have a bed to put it on. That's okay. It's just shown on a bed, right? But what Tilda did was that they took, okay, that same pattern, and they just took one of the blocks and made it into a pillow. Now, how cute is that? Could you do that? Could you say to yourself, I could do that, right? I might not be able to do the quilt in its entirety, but I certainly could do that. So sometimes we just have to remember that we may love a pattern, but it's just too much for us. But what is the element of the pattern that you love so much? Make it smaller. You could make this into a pillow. You can make it into a table runner. I'll never forget one of the comments that I had received once when this was when Kimberbell first came out with their bench pillows, and someone said, I wish I had a bench, and I would make these. If I had a bench, I would make them. You don't have to have a bench. It's okay. You could put it on a couch. You could put it on a bed. I've seen people make table runners. I've seen them make curtain valances out of bench pillows. So always think beyond what you see at first, okay? So here's another example from Tilda. So cool, right? So this is the tractor quilt, okay? Again, do I have a place in my home for a giant tractor quilt? No? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, okay? Someone might look at it and say, purple? Well, why would you do purple in a tractor quilt? Don't you think it should be reds and blacks and yellows and greens? No, this is, again, thinking a little bit differently, and they did it with the purple. But maybe purple's not your thing. And so instead of just saying, nope, not going to do that quilt, then what you do instead is you say, I really like that. I'm not really willing to to devote that much time into a project. No, machine. She's not an embroidery designer. She's a sewist, and she's incredible. And but look at this. How cute is that? And maybe you think to yourself, my grandpa, he would ride tractors, and I remember sitting on the tractor with him, just him and I, and we would work together out in the farmyards, and we would work out in the fields, and that brings back such good memories, right? Okay, you could tell yourself that brings back such good memories that, what, I think I like that pattern, but I don't really want to commit to doing a whole quilt, so I'm going to do a pillow instead, okay? Um, Casey, I love you. She said, Pep Talk Tuesday. Yes, loving this. Makes me think a little differently. Thanks, Casey. Maybe we should start a Pep Talk Tuesday. I like that. That's cute. Okay, how about, let me see if I can, what if we just like the element? This is nothing necessarily special. Hey, hello. One of my friends is out there. Um, this is kind of like a coin quilt, and the coin quilt is, one of those quilts you see quite often. It's nothing necessarily new, but I love the element of the coin quilt of what that looks like. And then look at this, although my picture didn't come out very good, but you get the idea. And so they took that same idea of the coin stack quilt and they did it as a pillow. And you could do it as a table runner. You could take that same element of it being a quilt and say, you know what, I'm not sure if I want to devote that much time, energy, all of the themes. And I say, you know what, but I really love the way it's stacked and I like the look of it, so maybe I'm going to do a table runner instead, right? So lots of different ways to look at it. And let me show you one more. I think I've got it here. Oh, okay, yes. This one is intricately pieced. Holy macaroni, okay? Again, I probably would not take the time to do that. Yes, Kathy, a bed runner would be so cute too. So look at that. You can see what is the element that you love so much? What is the element that you are drawn to so much, right? And then now let's take a look at the pillow. All right. So now you have a round circular pillow. Isn't that cool? So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to show you different scenarios of how you take the things that you love out of a quilt pattern and you draw that. And then I've got another example that I whipped up last night to show you. But you draw that element out and then you do something on its own. So don't be intimidated by the pattern. Don't be intimidated by the fabrics, okay? Maybe this color scheme is something that you're gonna go, oh my gosh, I love that so much. I'm so in love with that, I'm drawn to it. And so, but a whole quilt's just overwhelming. Do small, do the same fabrics, but don't be afraid to go outside the lines and do a different fabric, okay? A totally different scheme, okay? I could see this design in particular like snowballs, I could see it in blues and grays and being beautiful wintry colors, right? I could see taking this design now that I'm looking at it some more. How cool would it be if you go totally different and you go Halloween fabrics, you make that like a spider web, and then you applique a spider on it. Okay, again, thinking totally different. And so when we have people, and Jess and I talked a little bit about this morning for Embroidery Club. The tea towel set that was featured for Embroidery Club was the pink and the lime green. So the pink is what we used, but then you had the lime green left over. And I said, wouldn't it be so cute if you were to take that lime green tea towel, so many of you have Luck of the Gnome bench pillow patterns from Kimberbell. Grab an element on there, grab something that you love and put it on the green tea towel. And now you've got something that looks absolutely adorable. And it wasn't a bench pillow, but you were able to get more out of that pattern than you thought originally. So oftentimes I will look at a pattern and I'll say, what else could I get out of that pattern, right? And for sure, when it comes to like those Kimberbell patterns, you take those appliques or those cute sayings and stuff and you add them to other stuff. It doesn't have to be just for that project. Okay, so kind of fun to think a little bit different. So let me show you the example that I put together last night. We have, oh, by the way, if you are interested in any of those patterns that I was just showing off, you can find those on tildasworld.com, and they are actually free patterns. Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Colette. She just put a link. So that is where you can find them. They're free patterns for you. And I'm just always inspired by what they have on there. And I love to be able to think outside the box, because even if that is your color scheme or that's not your color scheme, think differently and be willing to try something new. Okay, so the next thing that I want to show you is I love this quilt from when it first came out. Let me see if I can find it on my screen here. Right here. This one is called Flower Market. It's not a picture of the whole thing, but you get the idea. I think this is one of the cutest quilts I ever did see. Okay, this is from Poppy Cotton, but I will tell you the truth. I just don't have time. I wish I did, but I just cannot find the time to make this quilt in its entirety. However, I love the different flowers, and I think that they shout happy thoughts to me, which I love, right? Positive vibes, which I love. I'm not necessarily personally in love with the fabric. Now, many of you are. We sold a lot of these, and it's very, very cute, but it wouldn't go in my home. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I love the fabric, but it's not, it definitely would not fit into the color scheme in my home. So I might look at this and say, no, because that's not my colors. Those aren't my colors. But it's okay to think differently, right? And to try something new. I might think to myself, oh, I wish I could do all those, but I just can't. I just don't have time to do it, or I don't have the energy, or I don't have all those things. So what I decided to do, and mind you, Jess was pretty impressed. I did this last night at her apartment. I was like, I just went through her fabric stash of what she had, and I said, I'm going to make you a little something for Valentine's Day. Okay? So Jess has a little bit more of a modern taste. And so, like I said, I just went through her stash box, and there we go. I said, let me make you something for Valentine's Day. So what do you think? Which flower, I just gave it away, which flower do you think I chose to make just a simple wall hanging? And it was, of course, the heart. Okay, that heart I think was adorable. So I'm going to show you what I made, and then I want you to tell me what are the things that are different about this heart. Okay, so here we go. There we go. There should be something that you might recognize right from the very beginning. Okay, so what would be some of the elements that are different in this project than what you see beside me in the pattern? Yeah, I've got the heart flower. Do you see something different? The leaves, you're right, Stacy. I did more leaves. So when you look at this one, do you love the colors? It's very different, isn't it? So again, a little bit more modern. Has a little bit more modern with still a little bit of country in the background because I chose the plaid. But the extra leaves are what's different. So when you look, let's take a closer look at the pattern that you see to the left of your screen. You'll notice that the heart only has one set of leaves on it. Do you see that? One set of leaves, and they're the same. And even on the leaves that, or the flowers that have two sets of leaves, they're all the same, right? The leaves are both the same, but I wanted to have it be more scrappy, and I fell in love with more fabrics in Jessica's stash. Look how cute that is. Ooh! I fell in love with more fabrics in her stash, and so I wanted to be able to use more of them. Yeah, and it's a little bit more vibrant. It doesn't mean that that pattern is wrong, and it doesn't mean this is right, and it doesn't mean this is wrong and that's right. It just means different strokes for different folks, right? So this one has definitely a more modern flair to it. And you've got that gold metallic that rises up, and this is an ombre fabric that I chose from. But I wanted to use more of the fabrics in her stash. So the stem is actually, you know, different from the leaves, which are different from these leaves. But notice on the pattern, the heart only has one set of leaves. There's nothing wrong with being able to take one element of a pattern and then switch it out for another element of the pattern. So I took the heart top, and then I looked at the pattern a bit more closely, and I said, ooh, it's the same size. Every block is the same size. So I'm still able to make my leaves be the same size, but actually have it be different than what's in the pattern. Does that make sense? Some of you are loving the binding. Isn't that beautiful? I love the binding too. Just fun. And then I just, you know, took this to my sewing machine and I just stitched straight lines. Now again, if you were looking at the pattern, you might think, oh, but I've got to do a white background. No, look, nothing wrong with doing a gingham background, whatever it might be. So that is what I worked on and last night, and now she's got a cute little door hanger that she could put on her door, or she could put it on her wall, or maybe she can use it like as a table topper, you know, something like that. So that's just an idea of how things like that can work, that you can just mix and match, and don't be afraid to try something different. So let me show you. Okay, here's another really darling quilt, but I know me, and I know I'll never make it. How about the chickens from Poppy Cotton? So stinking cute. But you know what? I probably won't be able to make the whole thing. So there's nothing wrong with, I've got a cute chicken, and I'm going to choose which one of those blocks is my favorite, and I might make a pillow out of it. I might make something to go over my oven, you know, whatever it might be. Let's see. Okay, here's another one from Poppy Cotton. Love, love, love. Okay, but maybe I say, you know what? I don't have enough fabric in my stash. I really want to use up some more fabrics in my stash, but I don't have enough to do this. But what could I do? And you could tell yourself, well, I could just do the center of that star, okay? Just radiating out to the pink. And now I've got, if I stop at the pink, I have a perfect border to go all the way around. Okay, it would be really hard to go out another round, but I could stop at the border of the pink. Does that make sense? And that could be a really cute, you know, pillow, tabletop, or whatever it might be. You could say to yourself, you know what, I love this, and the size might be, I don't even know what the size is off the top of my head. Let's say, pretend it's 30 by 30, and you say, I love this pattern, but I want to make it a 60 by 60. I want to make it a throw size quilt. You know what, go ahead and times it by 2 and make sure that all your squares are bigger. So if those squares called for 5-inch squares, make them 10-inch squares. Okay, again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think this one's adorable. The bluebirds from Poppy Cotton. Once again, can you see yourself making a few bluebirds across and making a table runner, and they're going straight across, and maybe I don't have that Irish chain in between. Maybe I do. It's so fun to switch things out and try something. So I guess what I'm telling you today is don't be afraid. Don't limit yourself, okay? Sometimes we want to try to tackle some of these things because of the challenge. But could we allow ourselves the challenge of being okay with having it be a little smaller, more manageable, more bite size? Or maybe we're saying, I love that, but I want to take it up a notch. I want to take it up 10 notches, and I want to make it a king size quilt. And making it a king size quilt doesn't necessarily mean you just have to add borders, you guys. Just add a few more blocks if you need to. There are so many ways to get the results that you desire and that you want. And so don't limit yourself. Don't hold yourself back. Find that great looking pattern that you've fallen in love with, or that there's that one element that makes your heart go pitter patter, or it makes you have a good memory of something in your life. Grab it and then do something with it. And whether it's small or big, the same fabrics or not, staying in the same line of fabrics or not, give yourself enough credit to go for it, okay? And we will all cheer you on. All right, so that is my message today, and I'm sticking with it. All right. Marion, so cute. You've given me a whole new perspective when I look at quilt patterns. Thank you, my sewing guru therapist. I love it. Hey, call me your Yoda, if you will. You guys are my Luke Skywalkers. I'll be your Yoda. I'll just kind of just share these things with you, and then you go with it, right? Because you be the heroes of this. I think it's pretty fun and pretty exciting to be in this industry where we can share ideas, and it seems like one thing leads to another, and then we're all like going, oh, what about this? And you could do that. And there's nothing more that I love than that sharing and that collaboration. So there you have it. All right.